This is a story that actually came out August 19th, 2015 in Daily Kos, but it's relevant because it gives you clear insight on how the Black community is getting busted and going to jail for drug possessions. But this is why it's not happening as widespread in the white community, because they already told the DEA not to enforce the drug laws in the white community. This is why you have continued to see drug arrests at a high level in Black communities, and are people getting these astronomical sentences and going to jail. But even when they do bust someone in the white community, their sentence is really very minimal compared to their Black counterparts. This is why, ladies and gentlemen, this government in this country is very anti-Black. And when you see how things are done, you will have a clear understanding on what's happening and why it's happening to us. Former U.S. Marshal and DEA agent was told not to enforce drug laws in white areas. Former U.S. Marshal and DEA Matthew Fogg has been speaking out against police brutality and racism and the drug war since he left law enforcement. The Free Thought Project breaks down part of an interview he did with Brave New Films. In it, he discussed succinctly and with clarity of a diamond one of the basic fundamental problems with how law enforcement policy works, and more specifically, policy around the war on drugs. And ladies and gentlemen, this is not the only thing they're relaxing in the white community. They're relaxing a lot of things. That's why it just gives you the appearance that they are not committing as much crime. But when you go to the FBI table, the crime in the white community is over the top. But they have relaxed the laws so much when it comes down to them, and even their court appearance, it's way much handled with kid gloves than it ever was handled for African Americans in this country, or what we know as African Americans. We were jumping on guys in the middle of the night, all of that, swooping down on folks all across the country, using these sorts of attack tactics that we went out on, that you would use in Vietnam or some type of war-torn zone. All of the stuff that we were doing, just calling it the war on drugs. And there wasn't very many Black guys in my position. So when I would go into the war room, where we were setting up all of our drug and gun and addiction task force, determining which cities we were going to hit, I noticed that most of the time it always appeared to be urban areas. That's when I asked the question, well, don't they sell drugs out in Potomac and Springfield and places like that? Maybe you all think they don't, but statistically show they use more drugs out in those areas than anywhere else. So he's talking about white areas. The drug use is much higher than in the urban areas, but those areas have been made off limits by the government in this country. The special agent in charge said, you know, if we go out there and start messing with those folks, you know, judges, and they know lawyers, and they know politicians. You start locking their kids up, somebody's going to jerk our chain, he said. They're going to call us out on it, call us on it. And before you know it, they're going to shut us down. And there goes your overtime. So they're saying no, because these are the judge's children and the police children and the politician kids that are out there strung out on all the drugs. We can't touch them. What Fogg realized was that without the racial component, without the class component, there was no war on drugs. Middle-class white people would not stand for the kind of abuses that were and are being routinely inflicted upon more urban areas. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and play this video.
I've got a job working at the police station where I was summer youth employee working for number 5 precinct. They throw me their keys and I would have to get in their cars, and like they park up the block, I have to either back up or take it around the block. Either a kid sitting in a police car. Oh man, my chest just grew about 10 inches, man, because I got in the car and I'm riding. And I started thinking this is what I want to do. I became supervisor of Group 42 for the Drug Enforcement Administration. They cross-designated me. I had to get sworn in as a special agent for DEA. So now I'm doing dual tasks. I'm a U.S. Marshal and I'm a special agent DEA. That's when I picked up the name Batman. I'm talking about Gotham City, man. We were rolling, man. We were jumping on guys in the middle of the night, all of that, swooping down on folks all across the country. Using these sort of tactical operations that we went out on that you would use in Vietnam or use in some type of war-torn zone. All of the stuff that we were doing, just calling it the war on drugs. And it wasn't very many black guys in my position. So when I would go into the war room where we were setting up all of our drug and gun addiction task forces, determining what cities where we're going to hit, I would notice that most of the time was always appeared to be urban areas. That's when I asked the question, well, don't they sell drugs out Potomac and Springfield and places like that? Or maybe y'all think they don't. The statistics show they use more drugs out in those areas than anywhere. The special agent in charge, he says, we go out there and start messing with those folks. They know judges, they know lawyers, they know politicians. You start locking their kids up, somebody's going to jerk our chain. He said, they're going to call us on it, and before you know it, they're going to shut us down, and there goes your overtime. What I begin to see is that the drug war is totally about race. If we was locking up everybody, white and black, for doing the same drugs, they would have done the same thing they did with prohibition. They would have outlawed it. They would have said, let's stop this craziness. You're not putting my son in jail. My daughter's not going to jail. If it was an equal enforcement opportunity operation, we wouldn't be sitting here anyway. It's all about fairness, man, and understanding how would I want to be treated? Whether I'm on that one end or the other end, how would I want to be treated if everything was done equally?
Well, I'm not surprised. This government has always been against the Black citizens. They have never been with us. And I'm going to always go back and point to where it began, and that was slavery. They were very much for slavery. They looked the other way during the lynchings. When dogs were sicked on Black people out in the streets, they looked the other way. When towns were burnt down by white mobs, this government looked the other way. So why should we be surprised that when it comes down to drugs, the government is doing what it does best, and that ignore the Black citizens and let the Black citizens just suffer and go through the agony of being separated and mistreated by the law, through the court system, through the prison system, and they have this track record, period. So no one should be surprised that they were told to, take it easy on the white community, but go hard after those people in the Black community. This is who America really is. Please tell me what you think in the comment section. Please leave your comment and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the notification bell. Peace, family.